Wherever you are in the world, welcome to another of my takes on China. And one of the saddest aspects of free speech is not that the concept doesn't exist, which it doesn't. It's that people believe it does and that they have it. On social media platforms, none of us ever reads the agreement we accept when we initially log on and create our accounts. But buried in there will be a clause which says something along the lines of, "We reserve the right to control your content." And because it's social media, we know, or at least we should know, that we need to behave within the parameters of their rules. We have to accept that. We can't incite violence. We can't incite hatred. You can't, in theory, provide misinformation, but who decides what is and what isn't misinformation? A friend of mine just told me his wife watches a traditional medicine doctor who offers natural healing methods, or at least she did. But that doctor's just been deplatformed by YouTube because his information violates community guidelines. The arbiter of those community guidelines is not provided. The parameters of what fits in the guidelines is unknown. This is a qualified doctor who has researched all his theories, and the platform, with no medical training, decided he's wrong. YouTube is not allowing free speech, but it's a social media platform owned and controlled by a corporation. So we know it's only going to allow us to say what we want to say if it falls within the parameters of their community guidelines. As a corporation, they have to decide if their pharmaceutical advisors are going to benefit from this doctor's channel or not. And if the pharmaceutical sponsors don't like what the doctor says, then YouTube has a choice: deplatform or defund a single channel, or alienate a large industry and lose massive potential corporate advertising revenue. And that's how important free speech is to them. Media is the same. They have their own parameters. Just to take one person as an example, well-known and respected journalist, Fareed Zakaria. I've watched a few of his shows. I'm impressed by some of the things that he says, and then completely shocked by others. Clearly, he's an incredibly intelligent person, but he's either been completely fooled by the China narrative, or he's contributing to the China narrative as one of the people doing the fooling. Honestly, I don't know. But the fact is, when speaking about China at his level, he should know what China is really like. He should know how it's run, and he should be objective in his reporting. He's one of the most widely watched and respected journalists in the world, yet whenever he mentions China, it's negative. We have to ask ourselves, why do people in his position do this? It could be that he's a coward and he's afraid he'll lose his job if he goes against the narrative. It's possible that CNN will lose sponsorship from their advertisers if the narrative isn't what they approve of. Or perhaps it's just that the audience will switch off if he tells the truth about China because it's not what they want to hear. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know why, but only one of two things can be happening here, and many others like him from all walks of media are doing the same thing. They either follow the narrative without ever attempting to verify it, or are part of creating that narrative. Either way, it's unfortunate, because I know that he's wrong on China. I'm now left in a position of not being able to ever believe what he says on any topic, which is unfortunate, because I'm sure much of what he says about other parts of the world are probably true, or possibly true, or maybe true, or maybe not. That's what happens when your illusions of freedom in the press are shattered. Nothing can ever be believed, and nothing's ever the same again. We now know for a fact that the FBI asked Facebook and Twitter to suppress what they called misinformation about Hunter Biden before the election, don't we? Well, actually, we don't. CNN report that the FBI never asked Twitter to do this. The New York Post reports that the FBI did. So which story is true and which is misinformation? These two are completely conflicting reports. Both have allegations, both have names of people involved, both claim they have proof that their story is true. One of them can't be. Whether the Hunter Biden laptop story is true or misinformation isn't the big story here. The bigger story is the fact that it was supposed to have been a Russian disinformation campaign to keep Donald Trump in the White House. Many people believe the Hunter Biden laptop story is true, but that it was Russian disinformation was never true. Voters were discouraged from one choice and encouraged towards a different choice. The end result is that it doesn't matter which was true. The suppression of one story with the promotion of a different one did create the conditions for a change in US government. We'll never know if Trump had remained in the White House whether the Ukraine war would have actually happened. Many people think not. I've linked this. Tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands are now dead. Millions more are displaced. And this is how important truth in media should be. The lives of millions are affected by this misinformation. The right of free speech is a responsibility, and it needs parameters. We shouldn't be allowed to hate people publicly. We shouldn't be allowed to incite crime or violence. But we can make mistakes, and we shouldn't be deplatformed for them. We should state when things are opinions and when they are facts. If they are facts, as I do, they need to be supported. And if they're not supported, they need to be challenged. And nothing should be suppressed in a world where intelligent people are given the right to form and offer opinions based on their knowledge and experience. Everyone's experience differs, so opinions will also differ, and that's why we have and need to have debate. But there's no free speech in any society. We're entitled to believe what we want to believe, and we must respect other people's right to do the same. We can disagree. We can attempt to prove the opposite. But the bottom line is, we need to have the responsibility to respect each other's beliefs based on their knowledge and their experience being different from our own. I don't argue with people on social media. I'll always answer questions. But if your experience and knowledge are different to mine, you might convince me that I'm wrong, or you might convince me that we can both be right based on our differing experiences. There are limitations to free speech. And if you want to call people names or tell them that they're liars, that's okay, you can. It's your right. Just as it's our right to remove your comment if you do. Don't accuse people of suppressing your free speech because your limited rights come with responsibilities. And if all you've got is schoolyard taunts, you need to learn that the grown-ups don't have a requirement to respond to them. Thanks once again for watching my take on China, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.